Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat it after me. We come together.
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 In the name of love. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
In the name of love. Of every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship may we unite in honor of the God in all of us. Now look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together
In the name of love. In the name of love. Let's do that one more time. We come together.
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 In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
I know Mary Jean can sing louder than that.
I love it. I love it. No, I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to Unity of Little Rock. Oh, Tam, so good to have you back, and that was a great song. I love it. Love it.
Thank you.
So
Good to be
spirit.
back.
Good spirit. Well, I'm so glad all of you are here, even though it's just sort of a rainy day. We had sun yesterday, but spring is coming. Did you see the jonquils out there?
Mm-hmm.
It's really going to happen. So we welcome all of you. Are there any guests today? Well, we will be sure to get you a welcome packet later today. And well, our spiritual fellowship welcomes, serves, and supports individual transformation, enriching our community and the world. So, an important part of unity is prayer. So let us begin in some affirmative prayer. As we go into affirmative prayer, let's just get grounded. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your seat. Relax. Take a breath. Now breathe. Let's take a breath and become present in this sacred space and fellowship. And I love it. The song said, feel the love in the sanctuary. I love it. Breathe in the welcome of our community. Breathe out and release any separation you might feel. Breathe in the support we feel knowing each other, seeing the Christ within. Breathe out and release any drama of the day, any drama of our ego. While we each appreciate our humanness, our age, our body, our personality, we claim our ageless divine identity. Our true nature is divine wholeness. We live wholeheartedly in love and wisdom. We are in touch with the living energy of warmth, caring, support. We use the power of love to attract the warmth and caring and support and healing we desire. Go within for just a little bit of silence. Our state of awareness of our essential unity with Source. We affirm we are radiant expressions of ageless divine identity. We appreciate our unity of Little Rock. It has an age of 86 years and quite a storied past, but we affirm this community expresses in strength and wisdom and love. It is a radiant expression of ageless divine nature. We are grateful for this prayer time to remember to be present in this sanctuary of love, in this space of fellowship. We are ageless and divine. And so it is. Now, let us greet our ageless and divine selves. Good morning.
Yeah, Jeannie, back off. We're doing a song. It's the other Jeannie's turn.
All right, as you make your way back to your seats, got another new song for you here, but this one I will sing through once, and then you can join me the second time through. No matter how you feel, no matter how it seems, love is all that's real. The rest is but a dream. Open up your eyes, see the love that's there. Let it fill your life, 'cause God is everywhere. Everyone. No matter how you feel, no matter how it seems, love is all that's real. The rest is but a dream. Open up your eyes, see the love that's there. Let it fill your life, 'cause God is everywhere. Thank you.
Now we come to service and light the Christ candle as a reminder of our beautiful Christ nature and light within. And the daily word was ageless, and it was in the prayer. But let's say that together. I'll say it once, and then y'all repeat. I am a radiant expression of ageless divine identity. Together, I am a radiant expression of my ageless divine identity. And then we have our statement of being. Together, I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
All right, I decided to throw one of my songs in this week simply because I was a day behind and it was easy to do. So,
We get a little blues going.
Oh, good.
searching for answers, searching for truth. Just had to break bread. The feast was before me. Just had to break bread. The feast was before me. I had breakfast with an angel, fed my body and my soul. Learned I was going nowhere, 'cause nowhere was my goal. These habits of not owning up to what is mine to do are keeping me from sharing what is true. Are keeping me from sharing what is true. I had lunch with my friend Jesus. He made this point to me: that limiting desire is not the way to be. To keep one's talents hidden is not the point at all. You have to learn to trust, stop playing small. You have to learn to trust, stop playing small. Hallelujah, be thy name, Spirit, I lit my flame. I'll never be the same. Hallelujah, be thy name, Spirit, has lit my flame. I'll never be the same. I had dinner with Boss Spirit. I'd never felt such love. I used to think he was a guy that ruled from up above. And now I know the truth. His presence lives inside my heart. All that I was searching inside me from the start. Hallowed be thy name. Spirit has lit my flame. I'll never be the same. Hallowed be thy name. Spirit has lit my flame. I'll never be the same. Hallowed be thy name. Spirit has lit my flame. I'll never be the same. Oh, thank you.
Thank y'all. I think we're already reaping the benefits of Tam spending a few days away from us. Thank you, Dad. Thank you. I know that we'll get to hear more music that Tam has been telling me some little tidbits about that he picked up, and ideas and inspiration that he got from being at an event that was just all about being positive, right? Positive with the music, positive with you, positive, just positive. So thank y'all. Thank you, Vondra, Bill, Tam, thank you. Excuse me? And I wonder who next Sunday will be doing the dancing up here for us, right? Well, that might be a sight you don't want to see. Maybe. For the last few weeks, I've been talking about practices, how we can approach our spiritual life. And I started with self-awareness and then self-acceptance. And today, this is a practice that often we think of as being with someone else. But the truth of it is that it is a self-practice. And today we're talking about forgiveness. Because the weak can't forgive. It's the strong that forgive. Because it's much easier to stay in our struggle and our strife, even though that takes far more energy and time and effort to be there. It's our default at times in our life. And it takes strength to move us out of forgiveness. And I think the beauty of that is, though, as I look out here in this group, the strength is here. You're the strength. You have the strength. You're not faltering and weak and frail and poor pitiful little you. And you can't overcome in your life. You can. You have the strength to take forgiveness, which is something that we often talk about, and it can be our biggest challenge in life, even though it's something that's quite prevalent for us here in our spiritual community, but for us in society, to talk about forgiving others. So today we're going to talk about really 4 aspects of that forgiving. Because forgiveness is remembering how much you've been forgiven. How many times have you been forgiven in your life? How many times did your mom have to forgive you? That list is long for us. Plus, just how many opportunities have people in your life had to forgive you? That you did something sometimes mindlessly. You meant nothing by it. But in retrospect, you could look back and see how that, I see how that was taken. I see how that I was unthinking at the moment and that transpired. Or those situations in our life where sometimes we were a little angry and we lashed out and we hurt someone with our intent to do that. But nonetheless, people forgave us, welcomed us back, put their arms around us and loved us and continued on in our lives. So first thing is to remember how much we've been forgiven, thus how much reserve we've accumulated and built up for us to be able to turn around and give that back, of which you already have in your life. Because I know there's situations that you've forgiven in your life. And there's situations that you haven't quite yet completed that forgiveness, as well as there will be new opportunities tomorrow for that to unfold for you. When we talk about forgiveness, we always have to talk about that forgiving someone isn't excusing the action of some people. Especially in our news in recent months, we see actions that we're not excusing those actions. So we are asking that those people be held accountable for what they've done, while recognizing that there is forgiveness available here. There's room for forgiveness. And ultimately, what we're forgiving is about helping our own hearts. Because what we're really doing with the forgiveness is opening us up. The forgiveness is for us. We may voice it to someone else. We may think of it towards someone else. But who is changing in that process? It's us. So forgiveness is a process of really touching our own hearts and helping us be free and open up so that we're no longer carrying that baggage with us. Because isn't that what we do with forgiveness? Is you did me wrong, and now it is 3 years later, and I'm still dragging along how bad you did me wrong. And that's how I think of you and what I think of in my day whenever something in that similar situation arises of that person. So now I've taken This moment of which that person may not have been here for 3 years, and putting them here with me, with that feeling, with that experience. Forgiveness is about being able to let that go so that what was 3 years ago is 3 years ago and not present here, now. So forgiveness is relinquishing our right to get even. Y'all don't ever do that, do you? Mine is usually 2 hours later, I'm thinking, oh, if I'd only said, I would have got him. You know? I'm trying to think of a way that I would have equaled it out, made it even for me in my own mind. So forgiveness is really helping us relinquish that we don't need to get even. In some ways, it's recognizing that there was nothing to get even with. I mean, that's part of the situation, as we'll talk here in the next few minutes, of recognizing that what we're forgiving, in many cases, this person that we're upset with is oblivious to the situation. Okay? I went, when I was 19 years old, to get even with someone in my life. The man the hour before had beaten a young lady that I was enamored with. And I went to his house with the intent of killing him. Fortunately for him and fortunately for me, he was passed out and didn't answer the door. And the door was tougher than me. I couldn't kick it down. So I wanted to get even with him more than anything that I can think of in my life. That is the closest in my life that I've ever intentionally wanted to truly harm someone. Now, looking back on that, I can recognize at 19 years old, I hadn't come to terms with the abuse that I'd seen in my family, the anger that I was holding for my family, for my experiences, and thus this situation was just touching an old wound for me and bringing up that old anger. And I could not recognize that it wasn't just the situation I was angry at, it was a lifetime of unresolved pain for me that I hadn't taken care of in my life, hadn't addressed. I can look back now and go, did he ever offer an apology? Do you think he ever offered an apology? Nah, he didn't. We had one and only conversation about that experience, of which didn't go well. And nonetheless, years later, I can look back and know that I've forgiven this man. I've seen this man on and off since we were 19. And I know that even though I didn't get an apology from him, in some ways, he never knew I showed up that night. He was passed out. We never had that conversation of what I came to do that evening. We had a conversation about a young lady, of which no apology there. So sometimes in life, the people that we're upset with, they aren't going to give us any type of reprieve on that. They're going to stand their ground and say that they're right and that they don't care what we think, what we feel, what we believe. I look back, I can look back and even at 19 recognize the pain that I saw in his life. And what I've seen through the decades of him being an alcoholic, I think he's still an alcoholic to this day, which part of me is baffled on how he's lived this long being an alcoholic for this many decades. But he has. And I've seen through those years his pain, his suffering, his struggle and his demons in his life, of which unfortunately he's not seemed to want to address. But that's his right. That's his life. That's what he gets to choose to do. And I get to choose too. And what I've discovered was that when another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself and his suffering is spilling over. And he does not need punishment. He needs help. That's the message he is sending. And I look back at 19. Did I go there to offer him help on that evening? No. not at all. But in some ways, he was already reaching out in life in his own way for help. And this term here is when another person makes you suffer. I would change that verbiage because I don't believe another person makes you suffer. But in our experience with another person, we may find suffering. And watching them, I still to this day look back on this individual because we had a great friendship and I still love him. And it touches me. It bothers me that he's had such struggle and strife in his life. But my willingness to keep through the years reaching out and offering what I could to the degree I could has helped me deepen even more so that he's calling out. He's still calling out. He just hasn't reached the place in his life that he can hear anyone responding, or at least hear me. Maybe others he can hear. Maybe it's just Russ he doesn't hear. So our forgiveness that we're doing sometimes takes a whole lot longer than we planned. Okay? We think that, boy, this one's little and trivial and I'll just knock this out. And we keep finding pieces of it months, if not years later for us. We keep doing forgiveness just as long as we can do forgiveness. Meaning, as long as we're alive, as long as we're breathing, as long as we're living in this life. It's an ongoing process. There's a story. Y'all know Amy Clark. Usually sits right back here, close to Betty. Okay, she is, I believe, in transit right now, driving back from Tucson, Arizona, bringing back Molly. I know our Prosperity Plus Spirit group knows who Molly is. The rest of you may not know who Molly is. Molly's a bird, a parrot. I don't know exactly what breed, but that might be a great question for her when you see her next week. But she's bringing back Molly. And then maybe that process of her going and getting, we've heard her for weeks talk about Molly and how excited she is on getting Molly. So part of our excitement is us living off of her excitement of getting to receive something that she's wanted, loved. But it made me think of a story, and it was of a woman that got a parrot. And she took this parrot home, and this parrot was just as mean and ornery a parrot as they come. And this parrot would look at her and say, "You're ugly, I can't stand you," and would squawk and scream and scratch and bite and flap, and feathers would fly just week in and week out. This bird just kept telling this poor woman how ugly you are and I can't stand you, until she'd had enough. And she grabbed that parrot, went to the freezer, opened up the freezer, threw the parrot in and slammed the door. And she could hear him in there just squawking and carrying on, still making a noise, and then he got deathly quiet. And she got alarmed. "Oh my goodness, I've killed him." And she went and threw open the freezer door, and the parrot stepped up and went, "Ma'am, I want to apologize. I have been rude and inconsiderate. I have been a terrible, terrible, terrible companion to you, and I want to apologize sincerely." The woman was like, "Okay, thank you." And still in the freezer, the parrot goes, "But could I ask you a question?" She said, "Well, yes, but what did the chicken do?" That has something to do with forgiveness in a roundabout way, okay? Sometimes the facts are the facts. There was a frozen chicken in the freezer with this parrot, and that changed that parrot's perspective, okay? But the parrot had made an assumption about why the chicken was in the freezer, okay? And for us in our world of forgiveness, often we're the ones that are making an assumption about what took place. And that's why we talked earlier about recognizing that sometimes people are suffering and this is their way of reaching out. Consciously sometimes, and more often unconsciously, subconsciously, that they're reaching out. And we have to realize that it's not always quite the way we interpret it to be. That's why forgiveness is so important, because we can literally have a difference of an opinion. That doesn't mean that you're being mean and terrible and rude and have some want to get even with me and make sure that I know how terrible a person I am just because we have a difference of opinion. No, we have a difference of opinion. We look at the world differently. Sometimes our forgiveness process is just to recognize, no, we just look at the world differently. Right? You can't see the world like Russ sees it. Right? You can see so many pieces of the world similarly to the way Russ sees it. Okay? But you can't see it just like I see it, because I see it through all this filter of all these wonderful and things that I've labeled not so wonderful events in my life. And that's the way I see the world, is through this particular lens. Okay? So I can't step up to you and look at something identically to you. It's the classic elephant, you know. One fella's on the front that's blind with the trunk, and one fella's on the back with the tail. Well, those kind of got similar shapes, but they describe them completely differently, even though they think they're talking about the exact same animal. Well, they are, but they have a totally different perspective on this topic. Right? That's true with us in forgiveness. Sometimes we simply just have to recognize we are not looking at the world the same, and probably never will. Maybe on this topic we never will. And being okay with that process and understanding that maybe this person's opinions and what they're saying to me has nothing to do with me and only has to do with their perspective in the world. They are not out to get me. They are not trying to harm me. They just see the world through that own nice, wonderful tint of their glasses, of their shades. In Matthew, it said Peter came up to him and asked the Lord, being Jesus, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times? And Jesus replied, no, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. So that process is, there's recognizing that's a lot of time. That's a lot of times for someone when they're doing something with us, but it's also, that implies too, that one event. Sometimes it takes us that 7 times 70 for us to forgive that one event. It just takes a while. Johnny and Toby are in school, and Johnny is mad because one of the little boys took his lunch, and he's going to get him. And the teacher's going, no, Johnny, you just need to forgive him. I said, forgive him? How many times do I have to forgive him? He's done this before. And the teacher responds, well, in the Bible, it says 7 times, 70 times. And little Toby's over there, he's working the math. 490 times. You have to forgive him 490 times. And of course, Johnny, steam's rolling out of his ears, going 490 times. I can't even imagine that, but 490. And then Toby's over there still thinking, going, man, I can't wait to be around after 490. Because he knows Johnny, and Johnny, 490 isn't going to be enough. And Johnny's still going to be looking to get even. For the rest of us, We can do it less than 490 times, I believe. And in that process, find that we don't need to get even. We don't need a way of trying to make this unfold the way we wanted it to have unfolded. We now get to heal and move through that so that we can sit and, in this case, be with the little boy that stole our lunch and know that I don't need to do anything else with this individual. I don't have a process that I need to go through because I've done that process. And I have no concerns that whether I forgive them 7 times or 70 times, that I'm now moved through it. We can't change what's happened in the past. We want to change what's happened in the past, but we can't change it. But you can start where you're at. And right here, bring something to an end so that you can have a beginning. I think that that's something the Fillmores in many of their writings were trying to help us understand is if you're dragging something with you and you don't bring it to an end, how can you have the beginning you want? How can you have the experience in life you want if all you're doing is dragging this, whatever this albatross is for us? There has to be an ending to it. And the forgiveness is about bringing an end to it for you so that you can now make this new start, this new place, this new life, this new way of perceiving and affecting. We know, I think here in Unity, you know what you get out, you get back, right? So when I'm resenting and miffed about Jeannie, I pick on her all the time because she does terrible things to me, and I get mad and I fester about it, and I pick on her about it. If I'm giving that out to her, then she might give it back. She might not. But somewhere that's going to come back to me. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect reciprocity here. But if that's what's flowing out of me in my existence, it's flowing. And it's got to flow back some way, somehow to me. And it's got to come to me in other experiences. So forgiveness is actually our way of ending that, severing that old life so that we have a new, present opportunity for the life we want, the experiences we want. Mahatma Gandhi said, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. If you're no longer holding the past, if you're no longer bringing this old wound, this old need to get even, this experience in which you have hurt and pain about into the world, what happens to the world? What if 100 of us do that? What if 1,000 of us? 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million? I think that that's part of in a gentle way, because you're not going out and shaking the trees and demanding that other people forgive. You're being the change you want to see in the world. You're being the forgiveness. And I believe that shakes the foundations of this world. And our world responds to that. And I believe it makes it easier, not only for our friends to find that place of forgiveness and to step into that new life, but I believe that our planet as a whole finds it easier to let go and to step into that new life. You're more powerful than you believe. I'm more powerful than I believe. And if we can only accept that power just that much more, what would we shake? What would be transpired? What would transpire and be transformed in our world? Just from that embracing just a little bit more of the strength and power that's within us all. And we have a capacity to do that. And I'm sharing with you just one little step on the way to do that, and that is forgiveness, because you're freeing yourself. Like usual, Don't do it for every message, but some messages I ask, so what? So what with today? So what with what I've talked about? So what with what you've been thinking about what I've been talking about? Or so what with what you've been daydreaming about and not listening to me? Okay? There was in that something of an experience, something of an awareness. So what are you going to do with it? I don't believe that the experiences you have are a mistake. So whatever you've been thinking, whatever you've been experiencing, even if it were a daydream and you were, see, I can go to the beach. That's where my daydream would take me. Then so what? What's that mean to me? How does it have relevance to me in my life? What am I going to do with it? What do I put into action to help me with that? Well, you get to decide that. I'm going to close here with just 2 ways to look at forgiveness. And that is with self-awareness and self-acceptance, I talked about that there's a daily practice and there's a formal practice. The daily practice is just using self-awareness and self-acceptance to recognize how I'm feeling in my day, what I'm experiencing in my day. Not to be the police of my life, but just to recognize those moments that I step up and I go, I didn't think she was being mean to me. That I recognize those. And that I don't necessarily have to fix that, make it go away, but that I'm recognizing it and then I'm starting to look for patterns. What are the patterns? I loved Reverend Quimby used to stand up here, and one of his stories that stuck with me was talking about being in the military with a guy, and that years later he had a boss, and that he loathed that boss. Everything about that boss just aggravated him to no end. Right? And that when he started trying to look at that and understand it, he didn't have a good reason. This boss wasn't necessarily the most evil human being on the planet. He just did not like this boss. And finally one day in his awareness, it clicked on him. This man is reminding me of an officer that I had in the military. Why? Well, they both had red hair. And something about the red hair was the trigger. It really wasn't the actions and the words of the individual that was the new boss. It was simply that he was applying, because of the red hair, the old experience into this moment. So that's an awareness that when in our day-to-day practice, we're just looking for those places that we repeat, that we notice. I get upset every time I talk with somebody about XYZ, or every time I talk to him or her, that I'm looking for those patterns. And then those patterns can be taken to my formal practice. And my formal practice is 10 minutes of sitting down and thinking about those places where I know forgiveness would serve me. Forgiveness would be to my benefit. And then just being aware of it, using our self-awareness and self-acceptance to just be with that process and that experience. Are there 1,000, if not tens of thousands of other techniques that you can use in forgiveness? Yes. And if you want some of them, I can print some off for you. Okay? I've got a computer full of them. Okay? Some of them are well used, actually. Okay? But the process of forgiveness sometimes, like all of life, is just bringing our awareness and our attention to it and allowing ourselves to be in the feelings and experiences that we're having instead of avoiding them. And it's amazing how much they shift and grow with us. So with that, so what? What are you going to do this week, today? What's going to be different? What are you going to add in? Not laboriously add in. Just what is something that maybe you want to play with? Treat it as play. What do I pick up and turn over and see whether I want to roll with this further? to me that can be play. So what is that this week? As we do a song here with the music team, I'm going to take you afterwards into a simple meditation. Might be something that you take forgiveness into and see, just keeping maybe a situation in which you want forgiveness on your mind, on what transpires from being in a simple meditation with that.
Here comes the rain.
That's something to meditate to.
It's 1,000 little angels tap dancing on the ceiling. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. You can sing along. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. I am filled with loving kindness. Oh, I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy. And I am happy. And we are happy.
As you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes. Just be aware of yourself seated, feeling your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your pelvis, your thighs, your legs, your feet, and being aware that you're seated right here in this place, in this space, in this time. And that you feel the rise and fall of your breath. The movement of that breath across your lips, across your nostrils. And that breath, as it flows in, filling your lungs, there's an exchange. Something that's in the air gets absorbed by the body, and something in the body gets released to be breathed out. The body's this wonderful exchange system of letting go what no longer serves and embracing and pulling in that which feeds and nurtures and adds to life and health and abundance. And filling that breath in those lungs is also light. Breath is life. Breath is light as well. And I want you to breathe that breath all the way in, into the breath, into the depth of the lungs, but into your central heart, your spiritual heart. And with each breath, that light is expanding, growing, filling you. And that light is moving down with your breath. Down through your pelvis, down through your legs, into your feet. And now, your spiritual heart, the essence, the center of you, the core of you, you're taking right on out and through your feet, breathing yourself into the surface of the earth, and now deeper. Each breath, deeper in still, taking you through all the layers of the planet, right into the molten core. And here in that furnace, there's a cleansing taking place, burning away, clearing away that which no longer serves, no longer has a place in your life, in your existence. And here you give gratitude. Give thanks to the planet. Thanks for the warmth, the energy, the light, the transformation that's taking place as part of your experience with our planet. And now, with your breath, start returning upward through those layers, moving back to the surface of the earth, right back into the soles of your feet, and moving inward again. Your awareness at your spiritual heart, the center of your being. And now with your breath, breathing and moving that light upward, right up through the crown of your being. And this time you're breathing outward into the universe. And you're flowing and moving straight toward the sun. Each breath bringing you right up to this incredible furnace of its own. And moving inward. Moving into that intensity, that strength, the persistence, and the life-giving light. You're now in the midst of that. And here being grateful. Grateful for the light. Grateful for the energy. Knowing that here too is a cleansing. A removal. A letting go of. And here is a bringing in. This time the light, the energy, the intensity, the strength that is here is yours. And with your breath, you breathe right back out to the surface of the sun, back into space, moving back to the planet. Coming right back to the crown of your being, bringing with it this light and strength, all flowing at your command through your breath. And that flows again right to your spiritual heart. Here you are strong, dedicated, passionate, loving, caring, kind, and insightful, persistent. All the attributes that excite you are awakened, deepened, expanded. And here too is love. For the light we've spoken of is love. The breath is love. The strength in the planet, the strength in the sun, all love, and now all deepened within us, quickened within us. And with each breath this time we expand out. Not just through the soles of our feet, not through the crown of our being, but outward, out in every direction, 360 degrees, up, down, left, right, forward, behind, every dimension, flowing outward. That love, that light, the breath that is our life breath, we are sharing and moving and giving forth. And we can see that moving to the people that we're offering forgiveness, but we also see it to our friends, to our family, to our loved ones, to our neighbors, to our leaders, to each and every being on this planet, and to the planet and all that inhabit it. Do you have the strength to give that love and light? And you are releasing it to be shared and to be experienced by others. And as you bring your awareness back to your heart center, the spiritual heart of your being, you know, that same light, same love, same forgiveness is there for you as well. Forgiving yourself for all that you've perceived as wrongdoings. Forgiving yourself for all the thoughts, all the actions, as small and as trivial, but that are being held by you against yourself, burning away, just like in the fires of the sun and the molten core of our planet. It cannot withstand the strength and love and light that you are. awareness again back to your body, back to the rise and fall of your chest, the movement of your breath across your lips, across your nostrils, knowing that you're seated here in this place, in this room, at this time. And as you're ready, open your eyes and know that all that strength, light, and love is right here, right now. And so it is.
All right, as we get ready to bring you another selection from Eddie Watkins Jr., I have a quick story. So I was at Tampa, getting ready to come home from the Posse Fest, and they were announcing that they would like to check bags if you had a roll, carry on. And I'm like, oh, that's cool with me. I think I'll do that because it wasn't going to cost me anything, and it means I didn't have to lug it up into the luggage compartment. So I'm up there, and I tell the guy, I said, well, this is going to go to Little Rock, right? And he says, yeah, that's where you wanted to go. I'm like, well, that's where I'm going, so yeah, that's where I'd like the bag to go. And he says, I have a story about that. And he's like, well, there's no time to tell you. And I'm like, dude, you have to tell me now. So he says, just last week, there was a guy that came up with 2 bags, and he said, I'd like this one to go to Chicago, and I'd like this one to go to Honolulu. And the guy said to him, we can't do that, sir. And the guy said, well, that's what you did just last week. You didn't get it, huh?
Ba-dum-bum.
I bombed. So I won't do stand-up.
He's here all week because he can't get a gig anywhere else. I know you know this one. Just before you say something you can't take away, take a breath and let it out, and try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now?
Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. And in the end, that's all we know that's real.
Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now?
Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. And in the end, that's all we know that's real.
Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? As you let your heart decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now?
Thank you. Sometimes jokes just hit a little too close to home.
It's all timing,
funny,
isn't it?
right? I've done the, I went this way, my luggage went that way. Favorite being in landing in Minneapolis and driving an hour and a half out into the boonies at a retreat center, and my luggage didn't come with me. So I was out in the middle of nowhere, and you know what? They didn't want to drive my bag an hour and a half. Imagine that. So I didn't see it for the week that I was there. So sometimes it's just, that wasn't quite as funny as I thought, because I've got an experience to go with that. Now, thank y'all for being here today. This is our opportunity now to share those wonderful hearts and generosity that I know you are, and I know that you do, because y'all give very kindly and very generously here. So thank you. Thank you for your gifts of your financial gifts, but your gift, the gift of your time, the gift of your talents. And sometimes you don't recognize that those gifts are you, that you being here is the gift. There's wonderful things that you may share and do as a role here, but you are the gift. And to me, I hope that you own that, embrace that, and know that for yourself, that you are the gift. So I invite you to take your gifts, whether checks or cash, in hand. If you give online, to hold that in your thoughts. Filling that love, that light, infusing this generosity that you're offering. It has a physical, tangible form, not just in the check, but the generosity has a very tangible and physical form. And as you release this today, you're releasing that love and light for it to go where it's best needed, best served. So if you'll join me in our offering affirmation together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
I'll quickly share a work in process that I started at the Posse. I can't help but wonder, what if we all could be more tolerant? Wondering, what if acceptance was our first choice? Might we be able to cut through the different and just love a little more? We could live higher, higher than ever before. We could live higher, higher than ever before.
I invite you to close your eyes. And this time, use that wonderful imagination. And see that, yes, there's here a financial abundance. And like the loaves and the fishes of the Bible, it multiplies. It grows, it expands. But using your imagination, see it feeding and nourishing the hungry. Whether that is hunger of the body, hunger of the mind, hunger of the heart, or hunger of the soul. That your generosity is nurturing and nourishing. And see that. And with it, feel the way you feel. The appreciation and the gratitude that you have. That your kindness and your generosity is flowing forth and touching others, giving to others, and making a difference to others. And so it is. Oh, man. I see you got me blue. He takes a big sigh. Okay. All right.
I could have.
Could have. At least she got me color coordinated, didn't she, today?
And there was some really nice fuzzy ones too, but I held back.
This is holding back?
This is holding back. This is what I'm telling you. This is me holding back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know you're kind to me all the time.
And I'm so generous.
That's right.
Yes, I share. Our upcoming announcements, Beverly Pryor is going to be with us starting Friday with our meditation class that she's going to be offering.
Yes.
There is still time to sign up online.
Discount ends today.
Ends today.
So please sign up today if you don't want to pay the full price. Just know that discount is through today.
Through today. And then she will be our spiritual leader speaker next Sunday. Is that
That's
correct?
She'll be the speaker.
She'll be our speaker
Yes.
next Sunday. Boy, I could not even begin to pronounce those people's names.
Oh, come on. I was going to let you. It's Paradiso and...
Rasamai.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it, Vancha. That's what I thought that you were... Yeah. Yes. They'll be here on March 14th and March 15th. Actually, 18 people have already registered for the Wednesday evening, which is a concert, and the Thursday evening is a workshop. So I invite you to come. It's going to be a good crowd. These folks are well-known, and as I've already said, I've never interacted with a group as professional and as well-organized as these people are. So to me, that's a testament of what their desire and what type of program they want to give us as well. So.
But with that, I want to bring to your attention a program note. Usually the second Wednesday of every month, the songwriters group meets. They're going to be postponed until the 21st instead because of the Paradiso and Rasamaya.
Good. That was great. Thank you.
I rocked that one. Yeah. And we're having, of course, our town hall meeting, which is on March 18th.
Mm-hmm.
There is still time to go online to update your membership so that you can then vote on Sunday. And as I have said ad nauseum, that you can then vote to not have to go online to update your membership. So please do that.
And there will be many other important things happening at that town hall meeting. So please do attend. If you're not a member, that's fine. Please do attend. Your input, your awareness of what's taking place there is important too. So know this isn't just for members. This is for everyone that's a part of this community. Membership just gives you the opportunity to vote on particular items. That's the advantage of being a member. But this is not limited to members only. Okay. Last thing, I would like 6 people to help me out. And those 6 people will help us in the children's program. And what you'll be doing is basically helping teach lessons and helping caregive for children. On the last Sunday of the month, we want 6 people so that 2 of you can be together. That means that once every 3 months, because it happens on the last Sunday of the month, is when you'll help out. So that's basically 4 times a year. If you think about that, you do the math, like little Toby did. Okay? So this isn't a huge demand. There will be training provided. There'll be once a month happenings, but there won't, meaning as in trainings and continuing training. But there's not a demand, a weekly demand, even a monthly demand for you. So like for 6 of you, if you'll help us out so that we can provide for the next generation of folks to learn what we know. practical Christianity, to grow and be aware of the teachings of unity. Better to start young, so they aren't like many of us in this room that had to come into it late and had to work hard to get all that applied, where it would have been such an easier path if it would have started young for us. Okay. So please speak to me, or you might speak to Jeannie. She will would receive that too. Yay! Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Now.
Oh, and program note. We were having the Sounds of Unity. You want to say something about that?
Yes. And they may be incredibly talented, but they aren't our talent, are they, Laura Lynn? we get 10 penny gypsy, local Arkansas talent, and we get good kick back, make yourself comfortable, enjoy the incredible music. So for those of you who come, it is, I believe, one of our best kept secrets in Arkansas is what transpires on the third Friday every month.
And I would like to plug another one of our local artists here, a member of Unity of Little Rock, and that's our Thea Bean. Thea is going to be our WOW presenter. She's going to be doing her intuitive painting workshop, which we are so blessed to have because she actually does this at Argenta Bead Company for paying customers. But you get to come here on Saturday, March 17th, and enjoy St. Patrick's Day here with Thea. So there'll be more information about that to come. And Thea, thank you for sharing your talents with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. May I give you this? All in good fun. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Jeannie. Today, we get to acknowledge members of our community, new members of our community. Amy Clark, who I mentioned earlier, is one of those that's a new member. And as I said, she won't be joining us today, but she's part of this experience. And to me, it's an experience. Membership isn't about, come in and we're going to tell you what you got to do and how you adhere to things, and you've got to follow our doctrine. And if you don't follow our doctrine, we're going to throw you out. That is not Unity's experience. That's not what we're looking to embrace when we're talking about membership. Membership is acknowledging that you are on a spiritual path and that you're standing in front of this community and simply publicly saying, I am on a spiritual path. And the beauty of that in unity is it may not look like my path. It may not look like your path. It's your spiritual path. And we want to acknowledge and celebrate that with each other. So membership for us in the community really has no intense requirements that you've got to do list. It's simply the willingness and the desire to be a part of this community and to move towards your own spiritual awakening. However that unfolds for you, however that looks for you. We as a community want to support each other in that journey, allowing for the variances and uniquenesses of our individual selves, that will look different for each and every one of us. We may have a kind of a vessel that holds some of it, but guess what? It can't hold it all. Right? It's just our support, our foundation of us as a spiritual community. So, Michael, would you come forward for me, please? In Matthew, it says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. So we're acknowledging today that the divine Spirit, God, is here present. And not just in this space present, but present here and here. Right? And I'm excited to welcome Michael as a new member, because Michael and I, we've known each other a little stretch, hadn't we?
A little bit.
A little stretch.
A little bit.
Michael is a friend. Michael is a mentor and a teacher to me. Right? He has shared and touched my heart and touched me in a way that I am absolutely blessed by his experience in my life. And I'm excited that he wants to come and be a part of our family and to celebrate with us what there is to celebrate, and that is life and our uniqueness in that life, as well as the truth of who we are. I would love to put him on the spot and say, who are we, Michael? Who are we? And he's just going to laugh that answer. So, with this, in behalf of our community, I want to welcome Michael Mitchell as part of the Unity of Little Rock spiritual community, and say thank you and bless you for being here. Thank you, Michael. And last but not least, I have here a little angel, because when I think of Michael, I think of an angel, because he has been that type of blessing and service I know in my life, but I have watched him be that in so many others. So thank you, Michael. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. And if we'll do our closing unity circle, if you'll stand and circle up, please. Come on down. Yeah, go down this way. Well, you do. There will be ample time in a moment. You can dance even more so. If you'll join me in our closing affirmation. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth and love begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, peace that was meant to be. And God's our